Welcome, everyone. Jordan from zBuyer here. I've got Misty with me. Misty, you do a little bit of everything. You're a coach, you're an ISA team all in one for your team, a woman's coach. I mean, the list goes on and on. Do you want to share a little bit about what you do real quick?
Sure. Hey guys, my name is Misty. I am a team leader in, we're just in between Austin and San Antonio in New Braunfels, Texas. And yeah, I am just super duper passionate about helping people. So I tend to gravitate into a coach. So I do coach a lot of women. I also work with some men. I am a super nerd when it comes to conversion and lead gen and all the things behind the scenes. So that's where my strength lies. So that's why I love so much. And that's why I love doing these webinars. I feel like it helps you guys kind of get in a good mindset. And, we're really great at converting these zBuyers. So seems to be a really good fit.
Absolutely.
So that's me.
Awesome. Misty, thank you so much for jumping on with us. Really, today's not 100% focused on zBuyer, just more of the market's changing. Mm-hmm. You're seeing things change. You're seeing, changes you're having to make in your business. So just what does that look like? What are you doing to stay successful through this? What do you have in place for next year? And this whole conversation started with you reaching out saying, look, we've got all these listings, nothing's moving, nothing's closing. I don't want to cut zBuyer because I know it works, it brings me business, but what do I do when I don't have anything closing? So I think whenever we spoke last, 75 something listings on the board. Is that still the number?
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. It's crazy times.
Absolutely. And your question was, what do I do with zBuyer? And not just zBuyer, but any lead source, and Misty, you spend a few $1,000s a month with us. It's not a small account. And when you don't have something closing, when your agents are working twice as hard, which we talked about as well, trying to close what they have, working new leads on top of it, it's a lot to look at and balance and try and make a decision on what to do. So what we ended up coming up with was we kept your account pretty much how it was, but we added some buyers. Primarily, you were focused on just sellers. We brought that in, but what other changes are you making, or what else are you doing?
Yeah, so I will tell you, we are just together as a team. We are coming together just closer than we've ever been, because it is taking a tribe to kind of navigate this. We are in Texas. We're just outside of Austin. So we were hit pretty hard because our homes appreciated so much so quickly that
so you want to know what happened? I was checking the news a little bit.
Must come down. So with that, we were hit pretty hard and pretty fast and furious. We weren't, we knew, I've been in this industry a very long time. I know that I certainly know how to navigate hard times. We just didn't expect it to change so quickly. Like, it was literally overnight. And I know that a lot of areas it's different. I am hearing from some people they're having the best year ever. That is not the case for us. It hit us really, really hard. We are a listing team, so we are always, we do more listings than we do buyers. And so now we are sitting here with a wall of listings. Like Jordan says, we usually carry on average 40 to 50 listings. Right now we've got 75, and honestly growing, because we are still going on lots of listing appointments. And it used to be such a huge win, right? You get that listing under contract and you're already celebrating. The panic attack kind of sets in for us when we take these listings, because now the real work sets in and we've got to figure out how to sell them. So in a nutshell, we're getting really, really smart on what we're doing. Pricing, I mean, it starts from the get-go, the very first conversations that we have with these clients. The reality of where we're at. This is the market. Here's the facts. The market is the bad guy. This is how we need to price it. As a team, we are, we've cut expenses gravely. So it becomes this challenge of, how do you represent these sellers? How do you get really, really creative and market and spend the money that we used to do when now, we're cutting expenses and having to work 10 times harder on getting these listings sold. So if I had to put it just in a summed up version to answer your question, we are getting real serious about cutting expenses, which is why I called Jordan. I said, hey, you guys are our lifeline. Like, we don't want to cut you guys, but I need some help. I need you guys to kind of take a look at this. What are you seeing across the nation? How can I keep this going at the level of spend that we have? And, as these listings that we're taking are growing, help me. That's one thing that I really love about you, Jordan, and just zBuyer in general. And I know this is not just a zBuyer call, but is that you guys are real people, and I can pick up the phone and call you and have that conversation. So I think that's a big part. I love seeing all these faces on here today, coming together as a group and a community right now, gathering around people where we can have these conversations is critical. It's important right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that it's something we pride ourselves on. And not that we try to go above and beyond in that sense. We just try to work the way we expect whenever we work with another company. If we have a problem, if we have an issue, we want to be able to talk to someone. So we try and work the same way. But we've got a handful of people in here. Is anyone else seeing the same problems Misty is, dealing with the same thing, listings not moving?
Before we used to advertise in the real estate shopping guide, and then obviously the newspaper. I'm an old dude. And then I'm wondering, where do people advertise their listings now?
Yeah.
What are you doing, Misty?
Well, we do a lot of ours is, the digital marketing. So online, of course, we are using our listings more than ever right now to attract buyers, because we have had to cut a lot of our lead gen. Previously, we were buying leads just for lead's sake, right? The more leads we got, it's a numbers game, the more buyers. But right now we are using them really more than ever as magnets to bring in buyers. So anywhere that we Facebook Marketplace, making sure you have a presence on Google, making sure that you have good reviews. If you have a Google profile, you can post all your listings under there. And we're getting a lot of traffic through organic Google. YouTube, trying to get some traction on YouTube where you're, uploading shorts or videos, and getting more eyes on it. So anything and everything that we can do that's not costing money, having more conversations. Whereas we used to pick up the phone and talk to buyers just in general. Now we're talking to buyers very specific about our properties. Hey, I noticed you were looking in this area. What about this property that's over here? It's great for these reasons. So conversations really, really focused more around the listings that we had than ever before. Just super organic and super, we've got sellers that need to sell. So we are working like double time. And that's really motivating us too. It's really just helping those sellers get where they need to go as quickly as possible. Where for the last few years, that hasn't been that way. We all know, throw it on the MLS, get enough eyes and you're going to get an offer. No big deal. We've all been a little bit spoiled. That's not the case for us right now in our market. That's for sure.
Super cool. One thing I love talking to you, Misty, and this has been since the first time you and I met. I think Eva introduced me to you. We've talked, like, mindset has been the number one thing for you. And outside of real estate, you have coaching, which isn't just real estate focused, just coaching in general, tailored towards women. But your mindset is always the driving factor of everything you do. What has changed with your mindset? Because it's hard to keep that mindset when nothing's moving, nothing's happening.
Yeah, it is very, very hard to keep your mind in the right space when there is so much negativity out there in the world. I have got to turn off the mainstream media, because I don't know about you guys, but that is just filled with venom. And it is very hard to avoid it these days. But for me, I've always been very intentional about mindset. Once I learned that what goes on up here really is our reality, it truly changed my life. So for me, I wake up every morning. I'm an early bird. I do believe in getting up and getting your mindset in the right space. I do the Miracle Morning for real estate agents. I have forever. I still do it. It's just easy and it's a routine. So any of you guys that haven't read that book, I have it on Audible. I've listened to it probably 1,000 times by now. There's nothing magical about it, but for me, that's where my mindset starts. The rest of it is really, I have a team, so my mindset bleeds over into their businesses, what I speak about and what I bring to the table every day when I show up at the office affects their businesses. So I have to be, those of you that have teams, you know this, those of you that don't, I mean, it's still incredibly important because it bleeds over into your personal life and your family. Who you surround yourself with matters. That has been a really big part of my mindset, is surrounding myself with really good people, including people like Eva and Jordan that are, with zBuyer, because for me, that's the people that I associate with. I've let go of lead gen sources where I didn't feel that same level of integrity or the same level of positivity coming from them. Because if they're vendors of ours, we have to associate with them. Who I associate with on Facebook, I'm really quick to remove people if there's negativity. So I think those associations for me too. Hey, I see somebody holding it up. Nice, Mark. Good job. I'm glad you have it there with you. He's got the Miracle Morning for real estate agents.
Just read it earlier this year.
All right. I listen to it daily. I really do. I know it's so corny, but for me, I literally just hit play on it every day. And wherever it's at, I listen to it for about 20 minutes. And that's how I start my morning. But it's really good stuff. It just constantly reminds me that it's all right here. What we focus on expands. But back to the associations. I think that's a big part of it. If you don't have a tribe or a group of people that you are surrounded by, that you can speak about this kind of stuff, you need to find a tribe, wherever that is. I mean, this is one right here where we're gathering and able to talk about it. That helps me because I think a lot of us in real estate, we like to bury our head because we think we blame ourselves, right? If something's going wrong in our businesses, I certainly know better. I've been in this business forever. I've navigated hard times. This one is something like I've never seen before. So those associations and gathering with good groups of people that can help me expand my mindset, my skill set, and really kind of head me in a positive, right direction, I think is really, really important, especially right now.
Absolutely. One thing that we've been looking at, because as zBuyer, we do a number of different things. We're selling to agents. We're also building a real estate company. We're also working with home buyers, home sellers, finding the right marketing to attract them, get their attention, to complete a lead form, delivering the lead. So we're doing so many different things and in so many different verticals, but everything we tied back to is building a brand and building trust. And I like what you said, Misty, about all of the organic stuff you guys are starting to do, increasing the online marketing, the digital marketing, building a brand, building trust, building credibility, because this is something I've heard and seen a lot right now where a lot of agents are starting to focus on it, where previously it might have not been as big of a focus, is really going to that and making sure anyone in your pipeline, anyone that can be coming into your pipeline is going to step into an ecosystem that you build online through, whether it be Facebook, through Twitter, through your emailing, through texting, however you're staying in contact with people, YouTube Shorts, your Google profile, everything, that they're going to walk into an ecosystem. They're going to see who you are, your track record, your credibility, and they're going to want to work with you. Statistic from Realtor.com, sellers are less active than beginning of this year. Newly listed homes declined by 17.2% from January 1 to December 1. With that, there's less happening. So we have to be able to attract the right people. With that, we have to use the current listings, what you have right now, marketing your listings to find buyers, to turn one lead into multiple transactions. So that's super cool. One question, Misty, are you with a coaching program? Which one would you recommend? Looking for one to build a team in Southern California.
Yes, I am not with the coaching program, but I have literally spent, I think I calculate, well, I'm not even going to say the number, a lot of money on coaching programs. I have been coached by the best of the best intentionally and have learned a lot. Currently, I'm not with a coaching company, and anybody that wants to know, you're welcome to reach out to me. I can recommend, I will offline tell you all the good, the bad, and the ugly. I will say all good things about the ones that I've been with, but I don't have one in particular that I would just say this is the one. But team building, I have a lot of opinions on the right way and the wrong way to do it. I think that they all have a little bit right. I don't think any of them has it 100% right because I've tried them all and gone all in. So, but that's a conversation I'd love to have with you offline. So if you want to Facebook message me, I'd be happy to jump on a call and share all of that with any of you.
I think a question to build on top of that, Misty, you talk a lot about your tribe, who you surround yourself with, where your energy is going. Calls like this, masterminds like this, is this something you're jumping into regularly in other areas? Where are you finding them? You know, who is in that tribe you have?
I've created my own, so I do have a mastermind that I run weekly on Wednesdays. And if anybody wants that information, it's really mindset based, but it's growing. So I'd be happy to share that. I do have a group that from previous coaching companies that I still meet with. So they are out there for us. We joined, I was always a broker owner. We recently, well, about a year ago, we joined Real Brokerage. And so that is currently where my tribe exists, is within that community. That is a group of people that we all have seemed to arrive at the same spot, and a lot of positivity in that group. So behind the scenes on Facebook, we have a private Facebook group where we can kind of chat and share. That's where I'm finding the most value for myself right now.
Awesome. A few questions about people connecting with you on Facebook. It's Misti Bruton Broker.
Yes.
Awesome. That's really kind of the end of like the questions I had. We've got a handful of people in here, so I'd like, anyone have got questions, comments, something to say, something to throw at Misty, jump in, and let's really just have kind of an open conversation here.
Absolutely. And I would like to say, I love sharing, you guys, but I don't have all the answers. And that's the beauty of kind of gathering like this, is that we get to help each other. This is, those of you that are kind of going through what I'm going through, this is some crazy times. We work really hard. I was telling Jordan this before we jumped on, like, we are a super hardworking team. It might be a week or however many days before Christmas, but we do not sit down. December is usually our busiest month. We usually close more transactions in December than we do any other month out of the year. And it is not that case for us. So we're going back to the old school ways, but if anybody has something that's working for them, I think this is a great platform to kind of share with everybody what's working. Like, let's kind of put our heads together and figure it out.
Yeah. Michael asked, no, or actually, it looks like Michael, you've got your hand raised. Did you have something?
Yeah, hi. How you doing, Misty?
Hey, good.
And thanks for sharing. Just wanted to ask, what do you find to be a key successful in your conversion success with zBuyer leads?
Yeah, answering the question that they come in on up front and not going in as the when I was a solo agent and I had zBuyer, and Jordan loves to tell the story that I've been in and out of zBuyer multiple times because I was using the wrong strategy. Knowing where the lead comes from and speaking directly to that right up front. So most of them come in on, wanting a cash offer on their home if they're a seller. So speaking to that right up front and letting them know, hey, I can help you with that. And I also have options. When can I come and see you? Going for the appointment as quick as possible and not over sharing how you can help them as a realtor.
To add to that, because I've heard a lot, and correct me if I'm wrong here with anything I say, Misty, but the other thing that I feel confident helps you be successful is you don't look at it emotionally. You don't get upset. You look at it from a very numbers-based perspective. You're big into your CRM, your database, your contact rates, your conversion timeline for zBuyer leads coming in. And I feel like that's one thing that helps you be and stay successful, rather than taking the no's, the not today's, to heart. You look at it as this is an opportunity I just created. This is a relationship I just started. This will turn into something. Statistically, it's going to be this many months or this amount of time.
Yes, that is very true. And I do think that's a huge part of why we have success now versus why I didn't have success my first, time around with zBuyers. Was it's, especially if you're new to it, it is a numbers game. I've now been with them consistently for, I don't know how many years, but 2 or 3.
Yeah, 2-3 years.
So now I have a lot of zBuyers and I have everything in a database, and I can clearly see, I know about when the conversion rate happens. It is not on the brand new leads that come in for us. Now I do hear there is low hanging fruit when they come in, right? If I get 20 leads, maybe one of them is ready to do something right now, but the other 19 probably are not. And those typically convert for us around month 7. So when you look at it that way, I have a lot of fruit in my database, because if I've been with them 3 years, you can just multiply and compound. And so we get a lot of low hanging fruit from being super, super consistent in our database day after day, with a lot of leads that are getting to that 7-month point every day, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Let's see, another question. I'd like to know what kind of script you use to get the listing in the first place. Well, if you want to answer or speak to that, Misty, I'm going to share one thing really quick.
Yeah, go ahead. I guess the script when I'm on the phone with them initially, or the script when I'm in front of them, where am I?
I'm not sure. Robert, do you want to give a little bit more context to that? And
I'll feed in on the first conversation, because I think that's where a lot of people miss it. I'm pretty, I have a lot of training in human behavior, so I often think I don't do anything special, but I probably do, just because I do have some skilled training in that area. But for me, I go for the appointment super quick. Hey, you filled out something online. Awesome. I see you have a need. How can I help you? When can I see the house? I probably repeat that same thing multiple times during the conversation. I hear a lot of my newer agents who are, oh, that's great. I'm so sorry you're going through this. That sounds terrible. It's okay to kind of chase that rabbit for a second, but I bring it back and immediately to the, I'm so sorry to hear that. Great. Well, how do you want to handle this? When can I see the house? So for me, I'm super, super pointed, super, super direct. And I go for the appointment 10 times if I have to in that initial call, and I don't give up. I will call them back the next day and the next day and the next day until they tell me never, lose my number and never call me again. So I think there probably is a skill set in being a little more aggressive and asking over and over for that appointment. Dangling a carrot as well. I do coach a couple of agents who I'm trying to get them in this mindset. Don't over deliver on the phone. That's, you've got value that you want to bring to them. Dangle the carrot that you've got a ton of information that's super valuable to them, and you'd be happy to deliver that to them in person. Don't give them all the reward up front. Otherwise, they're going to say, thank you, I'm on to the next agent or whatever.
Awesome. Real quick, to go back to that, if anyone's looking for scripts, Misty, what you gave is awesome. We've got more in here as well. If you go to your account and hit this menu, open up the resource center. There's all different kinds of scripts. There's follow-up plans. There's tons of stuff for you guys to jump in here and have just a starting frame, trying different things. And then from there, you can build, grow, incorporate, change up the script, make it sound like you. Mark, do you want to talk to a little bit about what your comment was? I was recently coached to ask everyone, before I let you go, let me ask you this. I had a screaming deal on a rental property. Would you be interested? What kind of results are you seeing with that, Mark?
Well, I actually just started asking that question just recently, just in the last week. So haven't really seen any results from it yet. But yeah, that's I think if you're going to be an investor right now, um, I think with the market shifting, prices are going to start to decline probably some point next year. I'm predicting maybe somewhere between a 5 to 10%, depending on where you're at. Because we're going to see more interest rate hikes. The Fed has already signaled that we're going to see 2 more interest rate hikes for the next couple of meetings until they get that Fed borrowing rate over 5%. They think that that's going to be enough to quell inflation. I don't think it's going to be enough, but it is what it is. So right now I'm looking for more rental properties myself personally, because that's, especially if you have the cash flow coming in, that's the way to go right now, and stockpile the cash until you can finally actually get a good screaming deal. I mean, if you can buy in fast enough, I mean, if you can buy it fast and low enough, and then you're looking at a property that doesn't need a lot of work, it doesn't need a lot of turnaround time, you can still probably do a nice fix and flip. But right now, my focus is probably going to be back on getting people to try to buy and hold instead of buy and flip.
Misty, you have bought some properties from zBuyer leads, is that right?
I have, yes. Yeah, I love to buy them. I'm not buying right now. I'm kind of holding on to cash, but yes, it is. I buy most of mine with creative financing, so I don't ever use my own money, which is nice. So that's been a real win for me. And that was probably the mindset shift when I realized, in Texas, we can do mortgage wraps, we can do all sorts of things. And right now we're seeing people need to get out of properties. They're pre-foreclosure, they're going through steps, so many divorces right now. It's the holidays and it's been a tough couple of years, and things are falling apart for people, at least when I'm talking to a lot of these zBuyers. So yes, I love buying properties.
What other options are you offering? If you show up to a seller, they're looking for, can you renovate my property and cover the costs, and I'll pay you at closing?
Yes,
I want a cash offer.
Absolutely. You guys, if you don't come into the table with a lot of options for these people, you're missing the mark. And if you just go with your listing presentation in hand and ready to tell them what an amazing agent you are, you're going to miss 50% of the opportunity. But we've partnered with a company called Curbio. If you guys don't know Curbio, they're amazing. I used them on my house previously when we sold it. So I have firsthand knowledge, and it's a pay at closing. So we've partnered with a company like that. Obviously we can be a realtor and list their property. We don't really do a lot of the concierge stuff. Curbio is about as far as we go on being able to help them like renovate the house. But as far as like creative financing, I can write you an offer right now for X number of dollars to be assigned. I can write it up myself, and I can wrap around your mortgage. I can sell it to Open Door. Open Door is still buying properties, even though they lost $1 billion. I don't know how that happens, but they are still buying properties. We had one yesterday that they contracted. So, and then just having a group of investors, just really it's finding out what that person needs, what's going on, and not believing the first level surface of what's going on, asking deeper questions and deeper questions. They usually say the truth lies below 7 levels of, when you're in front of somebody in distress, it's not, you don't typically go, hey, my life sucks. My wife just left me and I'm about to go through bankruptcy. You don't usually lay that out to a real estate agent or an investor. But if you dig deeper, you might find they might be telling you one thing, but you might find they're literally 30 days from foreclosure. So just digging as deep as you can. For me, I think a big part of it is just disconnecting emotionally from what's in front of me. I truly don't care if I list their property, if I buy their property, if I sell their property to somebody else. I truly don't care. I'm emotionally disconnected. My entire goal is just to help them with what's going on in front of them. And when you can ask deep enough questions and get to that point where you now know why they filled out this, online form that they want a cash offer on their house, once you can get there, you can truly start to help them with the tools that you have in your tool belt. But you need to have the right mindset, and you need to have the right, companies. Like I recommend Curbio. This is not a pitch for them. I don't make anything, but they are a really great company. to work with. And just having these options makes you the best person to help them.
Yeah. I was on a call yesterday with Ben Lang and a handful of other people talking about zBuyer leads. And Ben was talking about what he thinks makes him so successful. And it's just the amount of options that he has to offer, being the one-stop shop, not being the realtor that can list the home and nothing else, having so many different tools. One that I know of, we're not affiliated with them, but zDuilio. We've heard of a lot of zBuyer members using this. It's a pretty interesting platform. Whenever you get a zBuyer lead, you can plug it into here, and zDuilio has some nationwide buyers that are paying about 85% on cash offers. And so you plug a zBuyer lead into here and they will bring back multiple offers right away. They're actually working with Curbio, so fix then list is an option on here. And then as the agent, you're able to put in what you can list it for. And then it's just kind of serving these options up to the homeowner really on a platter where they can look through it, they can pick and choose, and really showing them visually, hey, here's everything that you can do. Here's your options. Let's figure out what's the best one for you. So we've heard quite a bit of zBuyer users using it and seeing results just because it puts those options right in front of them.
That's amazing. I want to mention something too that Mark said up here about the asking if I could get you a screaming deal on a rental property. We ask something similar to that, but I think the magic too for us, you know, with our, obviously we're really great at listing properties. We get a lot of these under contract. We buy some, we list a lot. We creatively help others, and those that we creatively help often lead to deals that are not even related to zBuyer, but were a referral of a referral or whatever. But I don't ever take no for an answer when these people, when I get them on the phone, because, you know, that's the human nature. We always hear that in sales training, that's our tendency when somebody says, hey, you know, it's Misty with, you know, XYZ Realty Company. I'm calling because you filled out a form. Their initial reaction is no, I'm not interested. And we hear no 1,000 times a day in our calls, but we always go deeper. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. What changed? Did you get it sold? Asking more questions. And then I do always finish it with something like Mark said, which is, if I could help you get an amazing deal on your house, would you still be interested in selling? And that usually takes almost every no to a yes, because it doesn't say, hey, if I could get you 200,000 for your house, or if I could get you, it just says, you know, if I could get you like the deal that you want, would you be interested in selling? And when you get a yes to that question, you now know you have a motivated seller. Today might not be the day. Tomorrow might not be the day. Maybe today they want 250,000 more than the house is worth, but maybe tomorrow that changes. So if you can kind of gather that group as a motivated seller within your database, you can start to speak to them. And a lot of our opportunities and appointments come from that group of people. They're solid no's. Lose my number, never touch, you know, never reach out to me again. But when we can get that conversation and we ask the right questions, I now know, okay, you may not know it, but I know that you're probably going to sell within the next 12 to 24 months. Now I can reach out to you on a consistent basis with the right message and probably be the agent or the investor that you work with at some point.
Absolutely. It's definitely a numbers game, and it's a timing thing, and having a database system in place that can manage it. But if you can catch them 12 to 24 months out, chances are they're not online calling up realtor after realtor trying to figure out who can get the most in the top dollar for their home. You were able to find it out though. And so now you've got at least a year to build trust, to build value with this person through whatever you're doing to stay in touch, communicate, nurture them. Where at that 12 to 24 month point, like you said, likely you're going to be the agent they go with. You're the one who's been there the entire time, updating them on what's the market look like, homes in your neighborhood. Here's your home selling tip for the month, whatever it is, you're the one staying in front of them.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of these people that are in distress, and there's a lot of people out there right now in distress, they're just, they bury their heads first. It's what we do when we get in trouble. We don't want to face it. We hope it goes away. So those that are facing the pre-foreclosure, but you know, they've already gotten into the situation and they don't want to admit it. And they're hoping that something changes, you know, that they get a great job or something changes. So we have met with people early in the process where they were just considering selling because they knew that doom was coming down the line, but we weren't able to help them or convert them or get them listed at that point. And then we will re-meet these people later because we've stayed in front of them. And now they're in dire straits. And I'm sitting there going, man, if we would have done something when I met with you 6 months ago, we'd be in a whole different situation. You'd have money in your pocket and in a different scenario right now. But that happens a lot. And that is because we have amazing follow-up. We stay in front of these people. If they say yes or maybe once, or if we get the opportunity to meet with them, we don't let them fall through the cracks. We stay in front of them. And so I kind of have a good perspective of what it looks like. And many right now, especially in our area, because of what we're going through, are burying their heads. They're reaching out and filling out forms online because they know that something's coming down the pipeline. Lots of people are getting laid off. They probably foresee it. And so they're like, I wonder what it looks like. But then they wait until it gets grave. And then you got to be super smart and super savvy to help them because now we're on limited time.
Yeah. Last question I've got for you, Misty, because we've talked a lot about sellers, buyers, and I know it's a problem. You've got listing after listing sitting and not moving, but what are some things you're trying to do besides the organic stuff? Is there anything new you're putting in place or trying to get?
So for buyers or for sellers or for any of them?
Buyers, really.
Yeah. Really, no, we don't have anything creative that we're putting into place. We really have been, for us, being creative is working with buyers because normally we're not, my team that I run, my micro team that I have inside my office, we really focus on listings. So we've taken a big shift right now where we're working with a lot of buyers because although it's not technically a buyer's market, buyers have a lot of leverage in our market right now. They can get smoking deals. So increasing our buyer leads with our lead gen sources like zBuyer and kind of making that shift and really focusing on buyers. Buyers are tough. They've got a lot of options. What we're seeing is they're getting under contract and they're not sticking because before you know it, there's another house that hit the market up the road and they're like, ooh, I like that one better. So they're bailing super easy. But for us, the creative thing is just really increasing our lead gen on buyers and working with them and treating them just at a different level than we have. I have outside agents that I would refer our buyers to, still on my team, but my micro team, we're heavily focused on buyers right now. It's where the opportunity kind of lies.
Very interesting. That's all I've got. Before we wrap up, does anyone else have any questions, ideas, thoughts, anything to throw in? All right, Misty, thank you so much for jumping on. Pleasure as always. Everyone, this will be posted into the Facebook group later today. If you're not already joined the zBuyer Facebook group, it's called zBuyer Mastermind. And then anyone who wants to get in touch with Misty, Misti Bruton Broker on Facebook. Misty's amazing. She can do a lot and she can point you in a lot of the right directions if you've got questions.
Absolutely. Thank you for
Thanks,
having me.
everyone.
It was fun to share with you guys.
Yeah.
I had one thing about buyers real quick. I saw in another webinar recently that we kind of have to change our mindset a little bit about how we work with buyers. I know that some agents will just not show a buyer homes if they don't already have a pre-approval letter in hand, but and some states don't really allow you to do it, legally, technically, but still, the mindset that you have to take sometimes is just, at least get them out to one house. Show them the one house, get them out there, see if then you can go through the pre-approval process. Just get them out there and get them looking, make that connection with them, then figure out if they can actually be able to. You work with the willing. Normally we just work with the ready, willing, and able. Work with the ready and willing, and then figure out if they're able. And then maybe you can increase the amount of buyers that you're working with.
Yeah, that is very true. I coach our agents to do that. The first one is always free. So what does that mean? You get out and you get face-to-face because you can't build rapport or really be the trusted agent if you haven't met them face-to-face. So we go, the first one is free. The second one, if you want me to open that second door, now we're on the phone with my lender and we're getting pre-qualified and it's on my terms, but I couldn't agree with that more. Mark. That is exactly right.
One question real quick. Do you use buyer broker agreement?
We do. Yes. Especially, yes. Now you need them.
So do we.
Definitely. I teach, so my newer agents, I was not taught this way. So I had to unlearn what I learned in the past, but our agents do not open doors without a buyer's rep agreement. So my new agents that don't know any different, they're so great at it. And that's just the way they learn. So they're amazing. So that first one is free. It's free for them to show up, but to open that door, they're talking about a buyer's rep agreement. Some of them get it for the state of Texas for a year. Some of them only get it for that property in that moment and that showing, but they get that before opening the door. For me, I've had to unlearn it, so I always get it before I open the second door. But yes, we do use them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Everyone, thanks for jumping in today. Thanks for the questions. Misty, again, thank you so much for jumping on. Always a pleasure.
Anytime.
And see you guys soon.
All right, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a good day.